good morning, good morning. How's it going? Nice to have you guys. December 9th, 2025. Hello, hello. Yeah, we're going to go through the headlines this morning. I got my Yahoo Finance screen up. And we see quite a few things are taking place this morning. All right, so we're going to take a look at what the headlines are saying and what are the tickers that are being affected by the headlines. So good morning, good morning. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining me this morning. So, all right. Trump hits the road to tackle con job affordability gripes. The rally trip comes as Trump's rhetoric and actions often appear at odds with each other. U.S. stock futures muted with Fed meeting on deck. Yes, tomorrow rates are going to be released. I'm looking at the S&P 500 right now, and we know that it's been reacting from big institutional demand lower on the charts. Let's bring up my little drawing tool. Here's the area that we had big institutional buying taking place from. Okay, it originated here, caused price to rally. Now they came back into the buying zone, and now we're coming up. Now, what we'd like to see is for these highs here to be removed. And as you can see, there's no institutional supply that needs to be removed here on this chart. This is a daily time frame that we're looking at. There's no institutional supply. The only supply that needed to be removed was this one down here. Okay. Now there's no demand coming in on this time frame. So we could look at a lower time frame. And let's take a look. There was a lot of sideways action here. That demand was here on the 1 hour time frame right here. And it has come into play. You see, this was the demand that removed institutional supply. Price rallied, came back down towards that area, and it's been upwards ever since. So take a look. Institutional supply here on the 1 hour time frame, contacted, removed, contacted again, removed. The last thing that we see taking place on this chart is institutional selling right here. Okay. It originated here, and this is where the institutional selling is. Is there anything below price here in terms of demand? Nothing, okay? So price can fall. There is nothing to stop it from falling, okay? But remember, what has recently taken place is buying from down here, okay? So we have bullish pressure coming in, right? Short term, we have this supply. So what we need is for the banks to remove this area of supply. And once they do that, it'll be upside from here. All right, very likely. So it looks like markets are just stalling right now, maybe because of, the data that's about to come out. Who knows? Okay, it's hard to know exactly why they're doing what they're doing. Okay, but I would just be careful with that if you were thinking about trading it. Okay. I personally, if I wanted to go in long, I would be watching for the removal of this supply, coming in with new institutional buying, and then a retracement. Okay. That's what I would be doing. But you got to wait until that takes place. Okay. Nvidia's in the news again. Nvidia, U.S. stock view. Okay. So let's take a look at Nvidia, what has been transpiring here. So the latest that we've been talking about is how we had supply here, demand here, and then the demand was removed, okay, which equals weakness for the chart, all right? And there's no significant buying until lower on the weekly time frame. So this is not a good chart to speculate on. It's not a good chart to trade because anything can happen. Remember, when we take a look at the higher time frames, using institutional price action and institutional price structure, we're looking at how far they were able to push price up from, okay, imbalances to the high, and then from institutional buying zones to the high, and we've hit that target. Okay, So what typically happens when these targets are hit is profit taking. Okay, that causes price to drop. So we've hit that area, and we should be very careful because when we hit a profit taking area on a higher time frame, and we don't have institutional buying until areas like 160 when we're at 186, there's no significant demand areas being created on the way up. All right. This to me looks as if what was happening here at these highs was a calculated profit taking. Okay. All right. This is what it looks like. When you are accumulating down at $100 and you doubled your money, yeah, you start taking profits on your positions. Okay. So when those big targets are reached, which we have reached at the high here. Okay, so this doesn't look to me like a chart that's sustainable. All right. Could they drive price up? Sure, they could, but they'd have to come in with new buying. Okay, and we're not seeing that. For there to be new buying, there has to be a drive up through their latest selling area. Okay, once that selling area has been removed, then we'll focus on examining the charts and looking for the buying areas. But that has not happened yet. So with that target being hit, let's be very careful because this could be dropping. Netflix, Paramount face different paths. WBD. All right, so there was a gap up. Yeah, we were talking about this one recently, Warner Brothers Discovery. Look at the monthly time frame. We had a nice institutional demand area there. We were waiting for a pullback, and we were going to buy this one because we knew big institutional buying was taking place down at these lows, and we wanted to participate in this buying. Okay, we spotted the buying taking place down here, $8. Okay, we waited for them to come in with new institutional buying, which they did, and then we just wanted to wait for them to retrace price because we knew, easy breezy target of 23. We were looking at doubling our money on that one. But we didn't get the retracement. That happens, so we move on. I wouldn't be buying now at these highs. And Netflix, NFLX. Let's take a look at what they're doing. Okay, beautiful. I see what's going on here. Finally, we got the drop. So we've been talking about this one with members. And we had price make a very significant move to the upside. On the lower time frames, we started seeing a breakdown of institutional buying, and big institutional selling came in, and those zones were holding. Okay, so when institutional selling comes in and the zones hold, that is telling us that price is likely going to drop. So where does it drop to? Well, it realigns with higher time frame areas of buying. Okay, so here was the weekly time frame, and as you can see, we located this institutional buying area, and look what happened. It got taken out. So where does price gravitate to? It goes down to the next higher time frame demand area. And so this is what we are contacting right now. Okay, monthly demand. This is institutional buying that took place here. We could see a move to the upside. Now, one of the key things that I'll point out is we don't have an ascending trend right here. Okay, there's a move to the upside, but this isn't an ascending trend. It's not an uptrend. And it's a different story if you have just a move to the upside or an ascending trend. If there's an upward trend here, this would be better supported, this zone. Okay, but the fact that this is just a random zone up in the air doesn't mean that we're going to see some buying taking place here. I mean, look at the rally that we've just received, okay? From the lows of $17 to 130, they're going to take profits, right? And I'm sure if you look at the positioning, let's take a look here. I haven't looked yet, but let's take a look. NFLX. If you take a look at the positioning of the big players, you'll see that they're probably in from very low. So it reached highs of, what was it, 130? All right, so let's take a look at where some big money is established. Look, $30, 30, 36, 45, 19, 66, 19, 93, he got in late, 37, okay, and some latecomers. But most of the big boys are in from very low. All right. So that tells you profit taking, right? And when the banks are in the middle of profit taking, okay, when big institutions are in the middle of profit taking, it's not the time to start accumulating. Could they start accumulating from here? Yeah, they could. The only way we would know that is to watch the lower time frames for big institutional buying to come in. And if that does take place, then we'll be paying attention to that. Okay. Um, let's see. So we have institutional supply here that we'll be paying attention to. And we have institutional supply here that we got to be paying attention to. Okay. So what I've just drawn out for you are two major areas that I will be watching for. Okay. If price rallies up and breaks through here, then that'll be telling me that the banks are interested in short-term buying. Okay. Now that's not medium-term buying, it's short-term buying, but the short-term buying can turn into medium-term buying. Okay. So I'm not going to be buying blindly in the middle of the banks taking profits, because this is very likely what's going on here. Okay, banks are taking profits at these highs, and if you want to, where's my little? Is it behind here? Yeah, it is. There we go. Profit taking. Okay, just as a reminder, this is what's going on. So be careful if you're thinking about opening up a position. Wait until they finish their profit taking. Okay. Wait until they come and show you proof that they are indeed interested in buying. And then when they show you that proof, then you can start making a move. Okay. Makes sense. Good morning, Troy. All right. So let's get to, let's see what else is going on here. Apple. Okay. So we've been talking about Apple as well. Let's head over to there and see what's going on. Yeah. Okay. So we recently entered a major institutional buying area at 190, 180. Yeah, I was telling you about how this area is not good. Okay, this is not institutional demand. There's really nothing here on this monthly time frame to support price. We're high up there after a big significant move. We had targets higher. We have targets higher. So this could go higher. There is a buying area here. It's not high quality, so I would be watching for a long signal off of that. Other than that, we're inside institutional buying right now on the daily time frame, but I wouldn't be buying off of a daily time frame. It's too low of a time frame. Um, yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks like we can reach our targets. Okay, it's just a little bit higher. I'd be looking to buy off the weekly demand zone, but it'd have to be a confirmation type of trade. Okay. Let's see. Home Depot. Okay, so let's see. Home Depot. I like Home Depot. They say the Home Depot is usually a good gauge of the housing market. What does it say here? Home Depot guidance signals doubt about a housing rebound. Okay, so that's not too good. Not too good at all. So let's take a look here. It looks like we had big institutional selling that took place here. Okay. And then demand came into play. The selling zone hit, dropped price. Buying came in, selling came in, and now we have this again. So as you can see, there's no rhyme or reason for how price is playing out right now. Let's see, is it holding? It's holding. Yeah, actually it's holding institutional demand, but gapping below, so we'll have some supply here. Okay. So this is what I'll do here. We're going to do this and this. Okay. This one's not ready to make a move. This is a monthly time frame. This is a long-term time frame. We're not seeing institutional buying coming in and holding in any regards. So I would not be trading Home Depot to hold for a longer period of time. Period. End of story. Okay. For me to be interested in buying Home Depot, I'd need all these areas of supply to be taken out, new demand to come in, new highs produce, price closing above previous tops, and then come in with those with buying off of those zones. But we're not there yet, so I would stay away. China to limit access to Nvidia's H200 chips. The medium home in the US costs 415K. Yeah, I know it's expensive in Canada too. Here's what that buys you. Trump ban on wind energy. Microsoft to invest 17.5 billion in India. CEO. Okay. So let's see. We were talking about Microsoft as well. MSFT. This one's a good one. And let me point something out to you that you should know. Look at the monthly time frame. We had our high time frame target hit. Okay. This target was placed there a long time ago. I didn't just put it there because it looks nice. That price is reacting from it. No, no, no. These targets are located using institutional price action. We look at the moves that the banks have made in the past from their institutional buying areas to the highs, and we look at the new institutional buying areas that they create, and we forecast how high price is likely going to go. And it's incredibly accurate, okay? And so we've hit that area. So this tells me that there's likely going to be a drop on price, okay? So with that being said, I mean, is this a time to be buying? No. In fact, if you take a look at the weekly time frame, we had a very special, significant buying area that was created on Microsoft on the weekly time frame. Okay, if price was going to go up, they would have used this area to do so. Okay, but as you can see, they did not use it. They removed it. And what are they doing? They're coming in with selling. Okay, so price is going to go higher. They need to remove that area. Otherwise, expect a drop from that area if price gets up there. Okay, selling is the dominant force in Microsoft right now. So I would not be a buyer of Microsoft stock right now. Okay. So keep that in mind going forward. Meta. Let's take a look at Meta. Not looking too good. If you remember that we had that gap up. Some news event caused price to gap up. I can't remember what it was, but we covered it at the time. I said, don't be excited. Don't be buying this just because it's gapping up, because it's gapping up right inside institutional supply. Okay. All right. And what's to be expected? Selling from there. So I would not be a buyer of Meta, no matter how good the headlines are. Okay. We got institutional selling areas here. So many that price would need to get through first before this was bullish. All right. So this is not good for Meta. This is very, very bearish. Okay. So keep that in mind going forward. So you can see a lot of charts have reached those higher time frame targets. They might come out with some good earnings, good news articles, but all that goodness will be used to help offload those positions that the banks got in a lot cheaper. Okay. So be careful with that. All right, let's take a look at gold. The headlines are saying that gold is looking pretty steady as investors focus on U.S. rate policy next year. Okay, well, what do we know about gold? Well, we don't have the latest CFTC data. I mean, we've been collecting the data, and we're getting closer and closer to the latest set of data. But what we do know is that the banks have been significantly buying all the way up, okay? And there gets to a point where they are going to max out on their positions. And I know you're thinking, banks, how do they max out on their positions? Well, they do. If you look at CFTC data and you look at the historical data, you'll see that there's always a maximum number that they tend to hit. Yeah, over the years, that maximum number will grow, but once it reaches a new max, then they stay within those parameters, I guess you could call it, for many, many years. And so as price was rallying, they were getting closer and closer to reaching their max, which means at some point they're going to have to take profits. Okay. And I believe this is what we're seeing right here on the charts. Okay. We don't know for a fact because like I said, I don't have the data, but this looks very much like what's taking place is profit taking. Okay. So I'd be careful with that. Right now we're in a range. We have supply here. and we have institutional demand just below it. So really, price is going to sit within here until one of them breaks. It's either going to be the supply or the demand. If supply breaks, price heads higher. If demand breaks, price heads lower. Okay, but I'm not going to be trading gold at this time because it's low odds. You don't know what it's going to do. When they're in profit-taking mode, anything can happen. Okay, price is still very strong. Take a look at the RSI on the weekly. We're reaching these highs, right? But take a look how strong RSI is. If there's going to be any type of significant drop, this needs to drop first, okay? We need to see a big drop in price to get RSI a lot weaker. So my bias is to the downside just because we've achieved such a dramatic rally. And you know, taking a look at the data, this is what it was suggesting, is that they were going to profit take. And another thing, let's look at silver. All right, silver also is hitting a higher time frame area here, where we located back on December 1st, a 12-month target. All right, and we are just about hitting that area. So we looked at the higher time frames. We did some projections based on their institutional buying from the past, where they could go, and we've reached this area. So silver goes where gold goes. Gold goes where silver goes, you know. If gold drops, silver is going to drop. I mean, that's just what's to be expected. So with gold looking like it's profit taking, you know, without the CFTC data to confirm it, and silver hitting areas where we are likely going to see profit taking, I'm not going to be surprised at all if these commodities start to drop. All right, so just be watchful of that. Nvidia Wave Life Science, WVE, I don't even know what that is. I never even heard of that. Big gap up, yeah, okay, good. Very new price action. I'd be careful trading this one. The first thing I'd be doing is I'd be looking at, you see where we are right now. This is an area where we're hitting again institutional supply. There could be a big drop to the downside. I wouldn't be long this stock unless this selling area got taken out first. Okay, new buying coming in, retracements to that area, and then you go long. Okay, that's how you trade a stock like that. You don't just chase price. You do that, you're in big trouble. X-Cure. Ooh, yeah, these ones are not stocks I would want to touch. Too speculative. PSKY. Paramount Skydance Corporation. Not a good looking chart, to say the least. Yeah, I don't like this one as well. You know, there could be something down here, but nah, I don't like it. I like clean, clear looking charts. If they're not clean and clear, I don't touch it. And this one too, big spike up. Looks like some demand could be coming into play here on the monthly time frame down here. See, big drive up from 7 to 60. Now we're back in this area, so we're starting to see a little bit of bullishness, but look in the higher time frame charts. Look what price has been doing all this time. It's not good, okay? So I personally would stay away from it. Okay, my friends, I hope this session was helpful to you, and if it was, hit the like button. That'd be nice. Show your support for the work that we do here. And that's it. If you want more information, please come and join us on our Telegram channel. You can find the link on the bottom of our website, whiteoakfx.com. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, everybody.